What's up guys, it's Naf here. So it's been a fortnight since my last maxing video, where I'm grinding out all my non-max skills very close to 99 and will level them all to 99 at once, just as a way to make getting the 99s a bit more interesting and will mean I can focus more on PVM and other interesting content rather than grinding out skills in the future. So continuing on from my last maxing video, I did finish up Slayer, Dungeoneering and Summoning, and decided my next set of skills would be to level Farming, Prayer and Firemaking at Vias through the use of Cedarside and the Sun Spear. So before heading to Vias, I did want to get the Morytania legs, as the hard and elite versions do give you 50% more Firemaking and Prayer experience from cremating Via corpses, and this effect does also work when killing them with the Sun Spear, so this makes them a very effective method of leveling Prayer and Firemaking, as it doesn't require any supplies, and not only that, but they do have a lot of seeds on their loot table. Along with that, some decent alchemical items and noted supplies. Now because of this, you can use the Cedarside as well, so when you do kill a Via and get a seed drop, that seed can be converted straight to a small amount of farming experience, which over the course of an hour can actually add up to a decent amount considering you're getting experience in combat, prayer and firemaking as well. So despite the legs from the hard tasks having the same effect, I decided to do all the way from easy to elite tasks, simply because I wanted all the experience reward lamps possible to put into construction, and for the most part the tasks weren't too bad. Now to complete all the tasks took an entire day, although a large portion of that time was spent completing two in particular. Thoroughly Aghast, which required you to summon a Ghast Familiar, and Shade Shattering Kabloom. So for Thoroughly Aghast, all you had to do was summon a Ghast Familiar, but to do this you had to first unlock that ability from the Temple Trekking minigame, which also required you to have leveled all followers to 99. So for anyone that's done this, or done some leveling of the Temple Trekking followers, or the construction outfit, you would know that the very hard followers are just very slow and annoying to level. And the Shade Shattering Kabloom task required you to cast a bloom with an upgraded flail, which again seems simple, but to upgrade the flail of Invandis, you are required to cremate 200 Vias the old-fashioned way, which does require a lot of Pylogs, which requires Sacred Oil, which can only be gotten through the Shades of Morton minigame, which, similar to the Temple Trekking, isn't hard but very tedious. Although as a small consolation, with the Shade Shattering Kabloom task, burning Vias does give keys, which unlocks alcoves, which are essentially loot chests. So after burning all the corpses and looting over a little over 200 of these chests, this is what I ended up with. So nothing special, although as you can see there is a rune kite shield gilded, and there is the potential to get some other clue loot, including god pages, so at least if you do have to do this, there is a slim chance you can get something decent. So with the tasks out of the way and having the Morytania legs, I was able to get straight into killing Firewatch. Now you may be noticing I'm not using the more popular spot, which essentially is situated around a lot more Via spawns, meaning you can kill more and therefore get faster experience. Now I did attempt to use this spot, but I quickly ran into a few issues. One, they do a lot of damage which you realistically need to counteract with Soul Split or a lot of food, and since I was using Soul Split, the moment I stopped attacking to loot, I would take a lot of damage and eventually would die. And the other main issue is there's no way to maintain your prayer. Obviously there is the Penance Aura, but considering I was looking to stay there for long periods of time and don't actually have the prayer potions or super restores, I really relied on the nearby altar to restore my prayer points, which made the alternative spot a lot more ideal for me to use. Now at first I didn't actually realise you needed to wear the Morytania legs to get the experience benefits, but I do find out eventually within a day or so. But apart from that, things are pretty straightforward and pretty AFK outside of needing to click the altar occasionally, clicking the loot that my legendary pet didn't pick up, and also using the High Alchemy spell on any rune or bark items. So one conclusion I had already come to when starting Vias was the fact I would be getting 99 prayer in the process, simply because there was no way to stop getting prayer experience, and I wasn't interested in giving up the easy firemaking experience, as I wasn't interested in alternative methods of leveling firemaking such as curly roots or even using my own logs, as I would much prefer to save them for fletching. Pretty quickly, I did also manage a lot of Invention experience through dismantling Sun Spears, and upon getting pretty close to 120, I did stop, as I do plan on hitting 120 Invention when I max all my other stats. I did also have my experience put solely into defense, as I was hoping that potentially I could get 120 defense as well, although even by the time I was finished here, I wasn't exactly close, so I'll have to see how that goes. Along the way, I did also manage the Constitution or Hit Points pet, Morty, which does mean along with Wallace the Defense pet and Krabby the Slayer pet, I will also be getting the Jack of Blades title when maxing. And eventually, after a total of 11 days and roughly 143 hours, I did finish up at Fires, which was when I finally got very close to 99 firemaking, which by that point I was 97 farming, so it did mean for the remaining experience I had to find another monster to kill. Now before moving on, over my time at Fires, I was tracking my loot and the coins I got through high alking, so I thought that would be something somewhat interesting to look at. So taking a look at the overall loot, which along with the free prayer and firemaking experience is the main reason I wanted to kill these and make sure I pick up all the drops. But as you can see, over 10,000 red spider eggs, which are used along with snapdragons to make super restore potions, which are extremely useful, 14,000 congealed blood, which honestly I've never used, although if I ever need to I'm pretty set. A lot of uncut rubies and diamonds, which are okay, over 2001 of Zamorak, which are used for super ranging, so again very useful Herblore secondaries, a good amount of limpwork root, teeth and loop half of keys, which are all decent but nothing special, 266 runite bars and over 2,500 adamant ore, which is going to help a lot when I get around to working on smithing, rune arrows which aren't great but they did stack in my quiver so they didn't take up any inventory space anyway, and if I do vendor all of these I will get a little over 4 million GP, and then there is all the noted herbs. So these are really what makes Vires so amazing for Ironman, with over 5,000 Rana, 6,000 Avanto and 5,000 Snapdragon, meaning I have over 10,000 prayer and super restore potions worth of herbs along with all the rest, with a lot of them being used in the process of making overloads. And of course the overall gold, with a little over 87 million, all from the items high alked and also the gold looted, but keep in mind I did spend a fair amount of gold rebuying sun spears, so it isn't exactly profit, but it's what I ended up with by the end. So overall, Vires were really impressive, giving roughly 500k experience an hour, split over several skills, 600k raw gold an hour, and a bunch of noted loot, all the while being in the less intense spot, meaning if you use the other spot sustained by potions, you would most likely get even better results. So now I was left with the task of finishing off farming from 97. Now there were a few other places I was aware of being quite decent, with Cedarside being Turoths, Jidinkos and Aquanites. Now according to online sources, Turoths did appear to be the best of the three for farming experience, although the weapons you can kill with them are extremely limited, with all sources recommending you use a royal crossbow. Now I don't have one of these repaired and don't fancy farming crossbow components, so tourists were off the table. So first up I decided to attempt mutated Jidinko males. Now upon getting there I actually thought these might be pretty good, as they dropped food, meaning I don't need supplies, and they also dropped noted herbs along with magic yew and mahogany logs. Now mahogany logs are particularly important to me right now because I do need to work on construction at some point as well. But unfortunately after spending around 20 minutes there, I never managed to break the 20,000 farming experience per hour mark, and possibly I was just unlucky, but due to that fact I decided to move on, although funnily enough I managed to get a whipvine drop in that time. So next I moved on to Aquanites. Now these were certainly an improvement. At first I was attempting to pick up all the loot, which mainly consisted of noted Herblore supplies and the occasional battle staff, but due to Aquanites being pretty spread out, it had a pretty big impact on the experience rates, so I decided to simply aim for the best farming experience possible. Now one thing I really liked about Aquanites is they dropped yew seeds at a somewhat decent rate, usually getting a few per hour, meaning I was able to do farming runs in the morning and at nights with the yew seeds I was getting throughout the day from Aquanites. And after a little over 2 days, I was very close to being 99 farming and therefore done with Aquanites. So I thought it may be worth taking a look at the loot from Aquanites as well, although it certainly isn't on the same level as the loot from Vires, partly because I did only spend around 37 hours at Aquanites in comparison to the roughly 143 hours at Vires, and of course the fact I wasn't focusing on loot at Aquanites like I was at Vires. But regardless, taking a look, first off a few Serenic essences, next I did actually manage to get around 80 yew seeds in total, although obviously I was planning these, so the 56 yew saplings is what I actually had left of them, a fair few amulets of ranging, which I have no use for, but they are a unique drop, so I will just hoard them. Next, a lot of seaweed, which I'll probably never use. Then we have over 6,000 snape grass, which is awesome because that'll be great with all the Rana I got from Vires. And lastly, a decent amount of Avanto, Rana, Cadentine, and Irrit herbs, which will all probably be useful at some point or another. So after that 14-day grind, I was looking to move on to something a lot less grindy. So I did decide to put all those herbs to good use and finish up with 99 Herblore. So fortunately, I was already pretty high level in Herblore, only needing a little over 1.4 million experience to be almost 99, which also meant I wasn't going to make anywhere near as many potions as I had herbs before reaching 99. So I wanted to make sure I had potions I needed short term, mainly being prayer potions, as I am pretty sure I will be using Seren spells when doing hunter, mining and smithing, so I can imagine I will need a lot of them. So pretty quickly, once I was making actual potions, the experience was pretty quick, hitting 98, and by the time I was done making prayer potions, I did have a little over 8,000 of them. Next, I made some overloads with whatever extremes I currently had in my bank, just to keep me supplied for Araxi and BM over the next few weeks until I've maxed. And lastly, to finish off the remaining experience for 99 Herblore, I decided to clean all of the herbs. So despite cleaning herbs being pretty bad experience, after cleaning all of the herbs in my bank, I did get surprisingly close to 99, and for the remainder of the experience, I just made potions with whatever supplies I had lying around in my bank, which ended up being super magic potions, anti-fire potions, super anti-fire potions, super strength potions, extreme ranging potions, and lastly, extreme strength potions. So clearly still a ton of herbs yet to be used. I will get around to using those for stocking up on combat potions after I max, as currently I don't have a potion maker machine, which after looking into it is actually decent for how few charges it uses, and also currently I'm extremely low on divine charges, which will eventually change after I get 99 divination. So that just about wraps it up. Currently sitting at 9 out of 16 skills done with, so technically about halfway, although I'm not too sure if that's the case in terms of the time it's going to take, since I'm not expecting skills like agility, divination, runecrafting, or construction to be very easy, but that is it for me. If you have any advice for the skills I'm yet to do, I'm actually not 100% sure what to work on next, so any tips would be great. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.